Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our services, if we can please kindly turn off all cell phones or electronic devices, or please place them on silent. Thank you.
Adonai Adam Vatidreichu Ben Enosh Vachashvechu Adam Le'avel Dama Yamav Kitzel Over Baboke Yatzitz Vichalav Le'erev L'moleh V'yavish Tashev Enosh Adaka Vatomer Shuvene Adam. Who among us here has not passed through our own trials and bereavements? Some of us bear fresh wounds in our own hearts and therefore feel more keenly the kinship of sorrow with those who love Beverly, Bev, Mom, Gigi, Grandma, the most, and will always love her the most. Others of us whose mourning is more remote still recall when a silent hug or a kiss brought comfort to our sorrowing hearts. All things pass, all that lives must die, all that we prize is but lent to us. We are travelers on the same road that leads to the same end. So we gather with mixed emotions today, certainly with the knowledge, knowing that Cookie is no longer with us physically in this life, but certainly we learn in Judaism that someone never really dies. Their successes and achievements, their likes and their families and their loves are passed down, what we call the dor vador, from generation to generation, and with the knowledge that she is on her way to her eternal resting place, to be with those who have gone before her in a reunification of love. And also with the knowledge that it is custom to name boys and girls after those who we cherish the life of, and to allow their memories to last from generations gone by. So I can certainly foresee in many, 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 many years to come, in our families there will be one or two little Beverlys running around. And those little Beverlys will be taught that they are named after someone so very special that we gather today. So in the 23rd Psalm, King David writes that God will walk us through the valley of the shadow of death. King David never writes that God will leave us there. So one day, when the mourning process is through, one day you shall wake up, and what will be left in your hearts and souls are simply the happy and joy-filled memories of Beverly, Gigi, Grandma, Mom, Aunt Bev. And those memories will be the ones that will give you joy. So if you know the traditional words of the 23rd Psalm, we say them together with all of our hearts. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
In our family, the word cookie has two meanings. Of course, it can mean a treat, something sweet and crunchy. It can also mean a term of endearment and recognition for someone you might think highly of. Although many years separated them, Bev and my grandson David had a very close relationship. They enjoyed each other's company and spoke often on the phone. Given his permission, I'd like to read a short poem he wrote about Bev 6 years ago when he was 13. It's called Cookie, the Woman That Knows All, by David Borski. She remembers her brother and sister. She tells me memories of when she was a kid. She is in her 80s, and she is my aunt. My aunt is inspiring. She keeps on fighting her way through life. Her memories make you think, imagine, and feel. She talks about how life was different when she was a kid. She is short, like a Neanderthal. She has hair like a koala, but she doesn't care. She moves on into the future. When I hear her talk, you can tell that she has been around for a long time. When you ask her a question, she gives you the honest truth. She never backs down from anything. She is my cookie. And this is a poem for my sister. Dear Bev, I shared with you collective memories that belong to only us. Love for those who have gone, yet still lived with us in so many ways. A restlessness of spirit and mind that kept us looking for our next home. Boxes of pictures that told us who and what we came from. A deep love for each other that weathered good and bad times. I thank the gods who dole out sisters that I got you. You will be missed.
Certainly, according to the relationship with Bev, you had many names of love that you called her. When we say the words, we will remember. Please say the name that she was known to you as specifically. A silly name, a formal name, a nickname. Say that name out loud, the name that you will always have the honor of calling her when you have the blessing of thinking of her. Say that name out loud in the rising of the sun, and at its going down, we will remember. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember. When the winter turns into the rebirth of spring, we will remember. When the spring turns into the warmth of the summer, we will remember. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember. So long as we live, she too will live, for she is now a part of us, as we will always remember. It is my honor to read words written with love by her son. How do you describe the life of Beverly Klein? A person of small stature at 4'9", but the personality of a giant 8 foot. A life so big it needed 6 names. What word would you start with? Brave. The courage to believe in yourself and excel at one of the most prestigious schools in Philly, Girls High School. The ability to bounce back after a failed marriage with 2 small children, to marry not once but twice in order to provide and create the best life for herself and family. The bravery to move to Alaska before Alaska became a tourist destination. It was still believed to only be inhabited by Eskimos, polar bears, and igloos. Crazy, insane, and foolish were words used to describe that decision. And that was just her family. Thrive she did in Alaska, quickly establishing herself as a premier computer programmer at a time when women weren't in this profession. She became a pillar of a small Jewish community that shared a rabbi with the Air Force, making change in the community by running campaigns for mayoral and U.S. Senate candidates, creating lifelong friendships and memories to last a lifetime. There was Diane, Mike, Bee, David, Bunny, Roxanne, and Gary, Brock and Janice, Krista and Ray. Bev always said her time in Alaska was the best time of her life. From Alaska, Beverly found herself remarried and moving to all of places, Saudi Arabia. Most Jewish women desire Boca, Miami, the Hamptons. Bev chose Dhahran. Once again, finding her way as a teacher, one of the few women in Saudi Arabia to have both a driver's license and a bank account. This location gave her the opportunity to travel the world, and travel she did. Israel, Egypt, Jordan, Sri Lanka, India, Thailand, Hong Kong, and many trips to Europe. Once again, cultivating lifelong friendships with Mart and Kirsten and Linda. Bev started fresh with a family business and eventually a new life in Central Jersey as a property manager, an occupation that her attention to detail, organization, and tenacity were perfect for. In her retirement, Bev continued to cultivate friendships. After moving to Brookdale, she was elected president of the Resident Association twice. Organized is another word we can use to talk about Bev. She didn't really cook and actually had her last 3 stoves disconnected and used the space for storage. At Brookdale, it was filled with office supplies. Of course, everyone needed a dozen boxes of Scotch tape and paper clips, hundreds of pens, dozens of notepads, and a case of copy paper. But she made a fabulous banana, chocolate, and walnut cake. Breakfast for Shelley and Alan as kids concentrated and consisted of Carnation instant breakfast and a raw egg mixed in a blender. Yeah, I remember that every morning. Apparently, this was before the discovery of salmonella. Bev was a renowned bad driver. She often got stuck in snow on the front lawn of the house in Anchorage, and at times her car looked more like a contestant from the demolition derby than a Honda Civic. We often came home from school to find the mailbox lying on the ground and knew she'd driven over it once again, backing out of the garage. The local gas station was on monthly retainer to pull Mom out of ditches. Vulnerable. She threw her heart into 4 marriages only to understand that she really didn't need a man in her life. Other words to describe Beverly were loving and caring. Her ability to love and be loved by her was tough love for sure. She didn't pull any punches in expressing her opinion, but once in, she would go through fire for you. Bev searched the world and she tore down every barricade when looking for and finding cancer care for her father. She created the best life possible for her mom in her final years, and losing her brother Craig literally ripped a piece of her heart out. We'll all miss being called Cookie. We'll miss her more and more each day and learn to appreciate her even more. Bev was fun. She loved to play games, Rubik's Cube and Mahjong, cards of any sort, and board games. I remember vicious Monopoly games with Craig and Arlene. She loved her TV shows, Shark Tank, The View, and MSNBC. She was an avid reader, often 2 books at a time. She loved good food and the occasional dirty martini. Taste. Bev always had the best decorated and appointed houses and apartments wherever she lived. She was a collector of art and significant mementos from her travels. She was surely the only one with a camel saddle in South Jersey that she literally brought off the back of a camel. She also had an obsession with online shopping, buying fashionable tops, bold jewelry, and organizational gadgets. Lots of organizational items. Bev will be missed by everyone who knew her. She was always true to herself and embraced all that she loved. Beverly Fisher, Massaro, Freed, Moscow, Larva, Klein, always did it her way. And on that we all say, Amen. One of those with the last name that I just mentioned, Jeff, I had the honor to correspond with last night and he wanted me to read. Jeff says, please thank her for making a comfortable home away from home during my summers and helping me to enjoy my family in Alaska. Very outstanding memories. Love, Jeff. If you are able to, we rise for the prayer of our departed, the El Malei Rachamim. Emore Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hametzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina Im Kedoshei Miturim Gezerah Rakia Mazirim et nishmat pluma marapat yasol and chavala shalacha leolama barachamim yasirea Beseitzer kinafav leolamim Vitzira hachaim En nishmata Adonai Unachalata V'tanu ach b'shalom al mitkava v'nomar Amen. Once again, in the space provided, please say the name. That Bev was known and will always be known to you as in love, compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe. Grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence too. Who has entered eternity, O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bonds of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And let us all say, Amen. You may be seated.